So, all right. So part 2, Chris Wolf here. We got how to drive the sale forward, even if only one homeowner is present.
Okay. So again, go back to the previous example when we're doing the setup calls, right? Maybe you did a poor setup call. Maybe you did a really good setup call, because that'll happen too, right? And you go and you show up, you're all stoked. You're like, okay, I got this appointment. Both homeowners are going to be there. This is in one of my key neighborhoods. They're a referral. I'm totally ready to book this job. And then you show up and one homeowner's present. I know that's happened to that's happened to me a bunch of times. And a lot of times it's because I didn't do a good setup call. But even sometimes when you do a setup call really well and you set expectations and you need both homeowners there, it'll happen when you show up and only one's there. Now, put this in the chat. Can you close jobs on the spot consistently with only one homeowner? Can you close jobs consistently on the spot with only one homeowner? Put in this chat. Tell me what you guys think. Pretty tough. Dan Precourt. Yes, absolutely. No, straight no from Wayne. Nope. Yep. Right. So we know this, right? We're in the residential retail market. We know that we need to get both homeowners. The vast majority of our customers are going to be married or have a, girlfriend or boyfriend that's part of the decision, or even if they're older and, their spouse has died, but then their kid is going to help them make the decision, right? The point is we need all decision makers there to actually close the deal. But sometimes we find ourselves at an appointment without both homeowners. So what do you do? Let's put that in the chat. What do you do? Do you just plow ahead? You just keep going? You're like, well, hell with it. I was hoping they'd both be here, but they're not. What happens when you do that? I got one person, Gino, saying keep going. Okay. I admire your determination. So I'm here to tell you there's actually a better way. So bow out gracefully. Darren, that's an interesting one. I would say there's a middle ground, right? So one of the things that we're kind of balancing, right, is do you just cut it off right at the beginning? You say, hey, nope, this ain't gonna work. See you later. Or do you plow ahead and hope to book it on the callback? Maybe after they've talked about it with their spouse and they've gotten 4 other bids and hopefully your bid stands out, maybe. No, there's a better way. Let's go to the next slide, Ryan. Okay, boom, there we go. So one of the things that we're gonna teach to everybody at STG is there's multiple parts, right? Residential sales appointment, you're gonna have an inspection and then you're gonna have the pitch. 2 parts. Ideally, we're going to do them all together in one 2-hour appointment. We're going to walk out with a signed contract and a check. That would be perfect. However, in this scenario, we've already talked about this, right? You showed up, there's only one homeowner present. So what can we do that's going to keep the relationship and keep the value and keep the company in the forefront of the customer's mind? We're actually going to do the inspection first. Because if you show up and only one homeowner's there and you're like, nah, thanks, peace, let's reschedule, it's going to leave a little bit of a bad taste in the homeowner's mouth, even if it's their fault, right? Even if they told you both homeowners are going to be there and they lied to you and only one's there, you still have to be professional. So what you're going to do is you're going to complete your inspection. You're going to ask your questions. You're going to get your pictures, your videos, your measurements. You're going to show that you're serious, that you're professional, that you're there to do business. And then after you've gotten your inspection complete, then you're going to take the time to talk to the homeowner that's there and set up an additional time later to come back and do the pitch meeting. You're going to set a time later to come back and do the pitch meeting. Because Ryan, what happens when we come back prepared with the results of the inspection, a printed out bid, and both homeowners are there?
I mean, you have what's cool is that you still have the tension, the leverage, where they don't know your price and what your solution looks like yet, but you've also kind of leveraged the fact that you need both homeowners there. So they don't know that that's not your process. They could say, hey, you need to take your time to go gather your estimate, anyway. So they could respect that and feel like it's natural. But then, so that now you're in a position to hear where they're at, get both people to weigh in and be able to make any iterations on the fly if necessary, and have a better chance of helping them really solve the problem or fulfilling the dream job that they're hoping for.
Absolutely. Great question, Joe, in the chat. I'd say absolutely. Try to schedule far enough out that they've gotten any other bids already at that point if they're going to get multiple bids. That's just a little side note. But yeah, I mean, ideally, in a perfect scenario, when everything's going great, you're going to do your inspection and your pitch together, same meeting, all the way through. You're going to walk away with a signed contract. But if that doesn't happen, don't just plow ahead. So I'm seeing a few people, Quinn, you mentioned you try to do that. You see some spots in the schedule. Gino, I see your question in the chat. If they do it to you again, I mean, there's not a lot you can do about it at that point. You know, you're going to probably just have to try to go through with it, but you can try to schedule a time for a callback to talk to them. There's a lot of sub bullets to this, just trying to give you guys the overview today to make the most change, the biggest impact.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this too is that really you take control of the process. So even though the homeowner threw a curveball at you, right? You have a way to deal with it. And honestly, I mean, a lot of contractors won't even give them a bid on the spot anyways. That's one of the things that differentiates us when our process is going smoothly, is we can do it all together. But a lot of contractors are just going to email a bid later anyways. And if you're one of those contractors who emails bids later, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully we can make some changes in your process to grow your success. I can tell you right now, you're going to have a way lower close rate. Gino, thank you for being honest. I know you're not the only one. We got 160 people on this call, and I bet 158 of them have emailed a bid, you know, and just said, oh, well, I'll just email the bid, see what happens. So it's important that we get back in front of people, because what's going to sell is you. And that in-person connection, right? So we're going to talk about that more for our third training point today. But if you show up and there only one homeowner's there, take control of that process, do the beginning of your process, and then reset a new meeting to come back and pitch and close later.
Love it. Super valuable right there. So setup call, how to drive the sale forward, even if only one homeowner is present. Really powerful stuff, really fundamental stuff. We can get into the weeds and more details, but really, really solid content to make the most of it.